Hi, my name is Steve, and I'm about to remove sand from a Breeze 4K engine. So I've already started by removing the leg, which you just twist to get off, blowing a little sand out of there. This forward leg has a little antenna or something, so it doesn't come all the way off. It has a wire attached. When you flip it over, you see the three Allen wrench screws that hold the engine on. So you start by taking these three screws out. All right, very simple, but they're easy to lose, so you want to be very careful and do it on a surface where you can't lose little parts, and use the right tools. I'm using a needle nose pliers in this circumstance. A crash landing on the beach resulted in this situation. I've already done one of the motors, but upon returning from a test flight, I see the other motor has to be addressed as well. This drone gets a lot of debris on the inside because of the cooling vents. All right, once those three screws are removed, the motor will come off its mount. And the next step is to remove this little lock washer, and you do it by kind of putting your microscopic screwdriver into one of the notches and turning or prying. I was gonna say it's not very easy, but it's off, and we'll have to locate it. Next is a little brass washer that also has to come off, and this is tricky because there's a notch in the oh, it's off. There's two of them. I didn't know that from the first time. Okay, now the motor head is free to come off, and it's held in place by very strong magnets. We'll have to locate that washer.
Did you lock down out of here?
I see the lock washer was in the motor, so that's why it was so difficult to remove. I'm just gonna fish that out.
Easy to do.
All right, so next is to locate the grains of sand and remove them. There's just a few in here to be concerned about. It's not catastrophic an amount, but just a grain or two will interrupt the free flow of movement in the motor. All right. I don't see any more sand particles, so we can begin to reassemble the motor. And it just slips back on. See, it moves very freely now. And we return the brass washers to their spot on the axle. Both of them. And they're so small. Alright, they're on. Now you need to make sure the notch is free to receive the lock washer. So just make sure they are out of the way. Replace the lock washer. This is tricky because it's not all that straightforward. You gotta snap it over the axle, or the whatever it's called. And of course, it's very easy to lose small parts in the drone itself, so it just got sucked in. But we need that part, so we got to get it out. Which means we may have to, well, we will have to take the bottom off so we can see the glorious insides of the drone. Very interesting. And I've found the lock washer, so we'll get back to work on that. Show you this part later. All right, so we have to figure out how to get this guy back on. I was hoping to only have to do it one time, and the last time it didn't give me so much trouble. I was lucky. Okay. We gotta get it in position and give it forward pressure, but now it's slipping underneath the brass washers. Okay, well, oh no. Okay. Almost lost it again. Almost. All right, it's back on. So the prop isn't gonna fly off. Then align the motor again with the wire in the appropriate direction. And there's a couple placeholders for it on the base, so you can only screw it up so bad. All right, lined up perfectly in position again, and the guide, you know, helps line up the screws also, so that's handy. Needle nose pliers, and replace the screws. And only get them finger tight initially until all three are in place. Incidentally, I just went through this for the first time about 45 minutes ago, and I had no instructions for how to do this, so I figured other people might want to see what it's gonna look like if they have to remove the motor and get a particle of sand or routine cleaning. You know, there's a lot of dirt and dust that fly around these things, and eventually you might have to overhaul the engine. Once all three screws are in place, give them a reasonable final tightening, and you're done. I'm gonna blow out the leg again one last time. Lots of sand in these guys. All right. And screw the leg back into place. Keeping in mind there's an antenna that's attached in there. All right, how do we do this? Well, it shouldn't be so hard. I'll get it eventually. It's just a matter of twisting and turning in the proper direction. There's the end position. What's the starting position? Another grain of sand. There we go. All right, back to normal. See the motor spins freely again. This one I had to take open before as well. These are sand free. Now the inside, the inner workings of the drone are very interesting. 2 sensors and a third sensor note the gimbaled camera, and it's all floating on a support system, vibration dampener, and it's quite cool. A heat sink, you know, the battery gets hot. Snap this back into place. And you're ready to fly your Breeze 4K again. And it's quite fun.